Hello, I'm Dan Hawkins, House Majority Leader of the Kansas House of Representatives, and this is our third segment on the House Bill 2119, which is our K through 12 funding and policy bill for the year. Kristey Williams, Representative Kristey Williams, is the chair of K through 12. As I've told you before, she's from Augusta, and it's really a pleasure to have you here again today. Kristey is kind of an ongoing thing of these segments. The next piece is the Student Empowerment Act. Tell me about that. What is that?
Sure. The Student Empowerment Act is designed to help kids that are at risk. And so what we've done is set up an education savings account. It's often called an ESA. And what that does is allow for that student that's most at risk to use those dollars for educational items. It could be for tuition or tutoring or for books or for transportation. But it's just an account that is approved by the state treasurer for items that are education related.
Awesome. And that's actually going to be available to more kids than what the other program would probably, right?
Yes. For states that have educational savings accounts, that would be Florida, Texas, North Carolina, Tennessee, Arizona, those states, it's usually about 2.5% of their total public school population that might participate in these more mature programs. So if we did that calculation, that would be approximately 12,000 Kansas at-risk students could set up an educational savings account and use those dollars to begin to succeed, because right now so many of our kids are not performing at grade level, and so that's what this would do for them.
Absolutely. And one of the questions we have once in a while is the bill constitutional? Is there anything in this bill that would make it not constitutional?
There's nothing in the bill that makes it unconstitutional. It fully funds from the Kansas Supreme Court decision of the Gannon. It fully funds our educational formula, so that's intact. In terms of allowing tax dollars to be used for a student that chooses a religious school, that's also constitutional, because this summer, the U.S. Supreme Court, in a decision was the state of Montana versus Espinoza, declared that yes, you can use tax dollars to go to a religious school. If you weren't able to do that, then that would be discriminating against your First Amendment rights to have an education and to do it at a religious institution.
So one of the questions that we have many times from our constituents, we get emails, we get phone calls, is are our kids doing okay academically? And are our schools performing the way they need to be? And you have studied this extensively. What do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, many of our kids are doing great, but there's still a large percentage that we are leaving behind. And those kids, we could call them at risk, or we could just call it a large population of students. I'm going to give you an example. According to the Regents, we have 20 to 23% of our students that graduate high school and they are career and college ready. That means we're talking between 77 to 80% of our students are not career and college ready. I think that's kind of a crisis level.
Absolutely, that's huge.
It's huge, and it even gets worse when you start to look at incomes. And if you were to just take a subgroup of students that were free and reduced lunch, you would find that almost half of those students in English language arts are not performing at grade level. That's very troubling, and the numbers just continue to get inflated. By the time they're in 10th grade, we're talking about 89% of our students that are not performing proficiently in math, and 85 are not performing proficiently in English language arts. That's troubling.
It is. It's very troubling, and it's troubling to us because it's also troubling to our constituents. And we have to have kids ready for career.
We do. Yeah. We want a strong workforce. We want Kansas to be the best state that it can be. We want our communities to be whole. We want our kids to stay here, but we want them to have opportunity and to be able to have initiative. And they can't have that if we don't give them the bedrock, the framework for success.
Absolutely. Well, Kristey, thank you for being here. Stay tuned, because we're going to have one more segment in this series. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.